station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is station. I am ready.
Cranfield University, this is Mission Control Houston.
Cranfield University, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for voice check.
This is Dr. Toby Thompson of Cranfield University. How do you hear me?
Dr. Toby Thompson of Cranfield University. How do you hear me?
Hi, Dr. Thompson. This is Jack Hathaway on the International Space Station. I can hear you loud and clear.
Jack, it's amazing to have you with us. Expedition 74 flight engineer, Jack Hathaway, MSc in Flight Dynamics, 2015 here at Cranfield University. Hopefully you remember Cranfield University.
Yes, I had a great time at Cranfield University. It was such a wonderful experience. I'm proud to be an alumni and representing you guys up here.
That's fantastic to hear. One of the most amazing alumni that we have, I think, here. I've got a bunch of questions, Jack, which are from staff here at Cranfield University, from students, and also from our local school, Holywell School at Cranfield Village, which I believed you visited when you were last here. The first of those goes like this, and this is a general question from some of us. What is daily life like in the ISS, physically, mentally, emotionally, cognitively? And what surprised you the most when we saw you come through that hatch onto the ISS?
Daily life here on the International Space Station is interesting. It's exciting. It's always changing. There's so many different things that we end up doing every day. Our normal day starts at 7:30 in the morning. We have a daily planning conference where we talk to all the ground stations. You know, the International Space Station is controlled from Houston, from Tsukuba in Japan, from Munich in Germany, from Moscow, and from all the international partners. And so we get to talk to all of them at 7:30 in the morning every day just to check in, see what's on the schedule, see what we're going to do, see if they have any extra tips for us for the day about what's going on. If we have any questions from the last day, we get the opportunity to ask them questions as well. So that's the start of our day. And then we kind of run our timeline for the day. We work through different science experiments. We work through different maintenance on the space station. We have some dedicated time to do physical fitness, to do sports, since we're obviously concerned about maintaining our bone density and muscle strength while we're up here. So all that kind of lasts over the course of 10 to 12 hours every day, with a couple meals fit in there. We end our day with another check-in with the ground control stations, and then we have an hour or two off before we head to sleep and then do it all over again the next day.
I was about to say that microphone looks heavy and expensive. Don't drop it, but I think you have dropped it already. Another question, if I can, from Holywell School. Look at that, it's amazing. We're going to get you to do a somersault later on. This one is from Sanvir in Holywell School. And Sanvir is asking about your journey up. How long does the journey into space take? And is it scary? Great question, Sanvir.
Great question, Sanvir.
That's a great question, and I'm excited to hear from the students at Holywell. I really enjoyed my time visiting them last time I was in Cranfield, and I'm excited that they've got questions here for me today. So let me break up the question. We take a rocket to space. We're on a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket with a Dragon capsule that sits on top of it, and we launch from the Cape Canaveral launch facility on the southeast coast of the United States. It takes that rocket 8.5 minutes, only 8.5 minutes, to put our capsule into orbit. Once we're safely in orbit, we make sure the capsule's working out fine, all the systems are checked out, and then we get set up for our rendezvous. It kind of depends on the exact day. The orbital mechanics of how the capsule will rendezvous with the space station are complicated, and they change day by day. For us on our mission, when we arrived last week, it was 34 hours. So it took us 8.5 minutes to get into orbit, and then it took us 34.5 hours to do the rendezvous with the space station. In that 34 hours, we're inside of our capsule, which is the size of a small room, the four of us inside of it, and we eat and sleep and do a little bit of science on our rendezvous to the International Space Station, and then we're here. and we're ready for our about 8-month mission here on Expedition 74 and 75.
For Samfield's benefit, when you came through that hatch and we saw you do that, what did it smell like?
I've heard a lot of things that the space station kind of has a different smell. Honestly, I didn't really notice anything. In the first few minutes, there's as you can imagine, there's a lot of input to the brain. Being in zero gravity, being in this much larger space, I can't actually remember what it smelled like. But one of my first impressions was the orientation of which way was up inside the space station. As you can see, our capsules are kind of oriented. We have an overhead, and we have a port and a starboard and a deck, and we kind of treat it as up and down, kind of like we would on Earth. But when I arrive on space station, our capsule docked to what we call the zenith port, and zenith is another word for the top. So the zenith port on top of space station is above space station in reference to Earth. So Earth, space station, and then our docking port was above it. And we docked kind of upside down. So the top of our capsule attaches to space station. So as I came out of the capsule and flew down, I came down heads down, but I was facing kind of like to the left, not quite lined up like I expected to see what the main area looked like. And so I was upside down and turned left and right, and I was like, man, I don't know which way is up right now. I'm kind of floating. This is crazy. So it was a pretty surreal experience the first couple minutes, just trying to get my bearings about what's going on and which way to look at. But fortunately, and one of the great things about space travel, we've had humans on board the space station for 25 continuous years now. So there's many students that are at Cranfield now that have been, for every year that they've been alive, there have been humans orbiting the Earth inside the space station. And of those humans, they're all just incredible people. And so they take you in your hands when you first come into the space station, and they say, all right, you stand here, you move this way, let me help you out. I remember what it was like in my first 5 minutes, and they really take care of you. So that's just such a wonderful experience.
Yeah, you're no longer a rookie. This next one is from Linda Bell, Maria Race, Aviation Safety Management and MSc Astronautics. The ISS, as you know, orbits the Earth every 90 minutes. Meaning repeated sunrises and sunsets. How does that rhythm, living in microgravity, affect you physically and cognitively? You're showing off now.
Yeah, I've got my remove before flight Cranfield University tag with me.
Oh yes.
So I knew you guys would appreciate that.
We do.
I just have that floating right there.
We do appreciate that.
The day and night cycles. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting question. There are definitely windows on the space station here, and some of them are absolutely incredible. But they're not everywhere, and they're not in every module, and they're not always open. So we don't necessarily see the sun orbits happening, the day-night cycles happening as we go around the Earth. At the rate that you mentioned, right? We have a full orbit every 90 minutes, so the sun sets or rises every 45 minutes. You have to go to a window and see that, and which is easy to do, and also a lot of fun. And sometimes it's interesting. You float into one of the compartments that has the window open, and it's like 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night, and you're getting ready for bed, but there's just beautiful, bright sunlight just streaming in. And you're just like, oh, I guess it's a day pass. And you take a few minutes and you go check out that window and you see what's floating underneath you. It's pretty awesome.
You're playing it down, but it sounds amazing, Jack. This next question is from John Thrower, a staff member here and colleague at Cranfield. In an environment where literally every action matters, how do you maintain decision-making sharpness and an awareness of risk?
Yeah, that's a really great question. As you guys may or may not know, like I was flying jets in the Navy for 20 years before I joined NASA, and my daily life was kind of like that. You had to be prepared for emergencies and the unexpected, and always be ready to do the emergency procedures as you needed to. But it was in a very kind of discreet environment. Like, you were going up on a mission, you were going up on a flight, and for that period of time, you were exposed to that kind of risk and that kind of scenario where you needed to be ready to react. The space station is similar in the sense that you have to be ready to react and pay attention to those things, but it's also long term. We're here for 8 or so months, and you can't have the adrenaline going crazy every time, every day, waiting for the next emergency. It's just kind of like normal life. You have to find a way to get used to the different sorts of challenges that affect you, and simultaneously balance the fact that you need to pay attention to the risk and the emergencies that may or may not happen. Also, you're just doing daily life, and you're cooking your oatmeal for breakfast, or you're making a cup of coffee, and those humdrum kind of normal daily life things. You got to your level of attention onto all of the things, and we go through like refresher training. One of the first things I've done in the 3 or 4 days that we've been up here is that we've met as the whole crew of 7, and we've talked about roles and responsibilities. If a problem does happen on space station, who's going to do what, and who's going to go where, now that we've swapped the crews around and we have a new complement on board. It's one of the first things that we set up kind of expectations amongst all of us, so we know what to do in the event that something does happen. And also, I'd be remiss not to mention the fact that we have thousands, if not tens of thousands of people on the ground in mission control, ready to support us and help us out, and we rely heavily on them. Space station could not run without all those people around the world, on the globe, every day, that are working to get our schedule set and make sure everything's in order, checking all the telemetry of the systems, and doing all the things that we don't necessarily have the time or the scope to do. And that extends to emergency situations as well, where they're prepared to help us out and do the commanding and help us with the procedures and make sure that we haven't missed a step. So it's a really great honor to be like on the tip of the spear up here, and one of the few people like able to do the last couple inches of work. But it's on the shoulders of all the people on the ground that are setting us up for success.
That's quite a team you're talking about there, Jack. I got a question. This is from Holywell School, and this is from Maisie. And Maisie is saying, after you've talked about a lot of work there, what do you do for fun, for entertainment? Can you talk to us about the cupola?
Yeah, I could talk to you about the cupola. The cupola is our like giant living room window, and it's located on the bottom of the station. We call it the nadir of the station, which is anything that's on the bottom of the station facing Earth is called the nadir. And cupola is there, and you can float down there, and it's just a giant, expansive window. Essentially, the whole bottom window is you can see the entire Earth, the entire circumference. You can see the tiny, thin band of atmosphere along the edges, the light blue or the oranges, reds at sunsets, or the amazing northern lights. And then you can see the Earth as it's spinning beneath us, as we're orbiting around it. I guess it depends on your perspective. It's really amazing. It's humbling. It's surreal. Like, it's just, you can see huge chunks of the Earth all at the same time. You can see the different weather phenomenon, the different colors. The cupola is pretty awesome. That's certainly true.
So Maisie's wondering, do you listen to music there or watch movies in there? What do you do?
Oh, yeah. We definitely have access to music and movies. At the start of Space Station, obviously we didn't, back in the early 2000s, we didn't have as much connectivity as we have now. But even back then, they were able to upload movies and favorite TV shows, podcasts, sports games that you want to watch. And now we have much more access to the internet now that we can get some of that ourselves, but also we kind of rely on our ground teams to help us out and provide access to some of the TV shows and the music that we love from back home.
Wow, it still sounds fun. This next question is from Dr. Sarah Posman, and this is about 3D printing. Cranfield researchers, as you know, have sent a metal 3D printer to the ISS. From an astronaut's perspective, how valuable is in-space manufacturing? And what kinds of problems does it solve that we can't solve on Earth?
In space manufacturing, 3D manufacturing is going to be a great boon to space travel. One of our big problems is that it's expensive and time consuming to deliver stuff to space station. It's not like Amazon Prime where you can get something the next day. We've got cargo vessels that are scheduled every month, maybe every few months, and there's limited mass and limited size on all of those cargo missions. And obviously they have dedicated manifests of things that they have to bring up and down. So there's not always room for extra stuff, or you have to prioritize amongst it. So the more that we're able to print here on space station, to build here, the less cargo that's going to have to go back and forth to Earth. And that makes a big difference in terms of if we need a special tool to accomplish something that we didn't necessarily plan to have to do, but turned out that we needed to do it. Or things break, like it's just like Earth where you're using a tool, or you're working on trying to take a screw out, or you're working on some sort of bracket or some sort of container for something, and it breaks. And it's obviously we don't have unlimited spares up here. So if we were able to 3D print that material, that's going to save us a lot of time. It's going to save us a lot of storage space because potentially we could have less spares up here if we knew we could just print a new one. Rather than having to store it here, we could just have the material to print whatever we needed. And that's going to make an even bigger difference as we go to the moon and Mars, because the ability to transfer cargo to those far-off destinations is going to be even more difficult than it is to get to the International Space Station. So the more 3D printing that we can do, the more in-situ resources that we can take advantage of, the more successful we're going to be in pushing the human race further and further away from Earth.
And Cranfield University, Jack, are very proud to have that piece of kit on board there. Thank you. This next question is from Robert and Tom from the MSc in Sustainability here at Cranfield. Many astronauts talk about a shift in perspective after seeing Earth from space. How has that changed how you think about humanity and our responsibility for the planet?
Yeah, that's a powerful powerful thought. It's really an incredible experience getting the opportunity to come here and work as an astronaut. First, from a small perspective, we all come from different backgrounds, so it's so interesting to work with world-renowned scientists and engineers, in addition to the test pilots and other people from a military background, because everyone brings like a slightly different piece, different focus to how to solve problems. And having the opportunity to learn from everyone and see how they see problems and see how they can solve problems just expands your own ability to accept differences, to look at problems differently, to achieve goals in a different or more combined way. And I think once we get to space station, we see that on a global scale. That we see how many people around the world it takes to make this mission happen. And then every day while we're up here, we get to look down at the Earth and see how interconnected it is, see how tenuous the atmosphere band around the Earth is, to see how all the weather phenomenon just moves all around the world. There isn't just one place that can just be all by itself. We're all interconnected, and that's no more clear than it is when you look out the cupola window up here. So you do get a sense that as a species we're just more connected amongst ourselves and to the planet than you can really experience in a day-to-day life back home.
Thank you, Jack. One last question. This one from Hollywood School. And this is from Ava. Nice one, Ava. This is about coming back to Earth. When you do come back, do you have to do some sort of decompression? Ava's asking. Ava's asking.
Thanks, Ava. That's a great question. We do get quite a bit of time to reacclimatize, is the word that we use, to get used to gravity and get used to all the natures of Earth. I think one of the things my kids are most excited about when I get home is that they've heard stories of astronauts that come home and they hold a glass and they're just holding it out here like this, and then they just drop it, because in space, if you have a pen, you can just let go, and then you can just grab it again. And
Crazy.
They are really excited to laugh at me when I put my glass or my pen out in the air and it just drops. So we'll see how many of those challenges that I have. but we definitely have to spend quite a bit of time getting our balance back, making sure that our muscles haven't gotten too weak being up here in microgravity, and spend some time doing those sorts of things to get used to living in 1G on the surface of the Earth again.
That's incredible. No more questions, Jack. I don't know if you can do me a Usain Bolt jump or a hula hoop, but it'd be wonderful to see some microgravity demonstration.
I can do something like that. Let me put my microphone over here so I don't knock it.
Here we go.
Do a cartwheel for you first.
Wait, look at that. There, you're showing off. Yeah, that's just AI generated, right?
Yeah, that's just AI generated, right?
Incredible. Look at
There's
that.
nothing like it. You just it's quite a bit of fun.
Jack, thank you very much indeed for your time today, and everyone from Cranfield is wishing you the very best. Thank you again.
Absolutely. I love my time at Cranfield. I'm really excited to have the opportunity to talk to you guys again. Yeah, best to you guys and best to all the students, alumni, and staff that are there right now. I appreciate you guys calling me.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes our event.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.